Oh, hey there. Welcome back to Makery by Mooney. Hey, you Makery Maniacs. I'm gonna impose this nickname on you because you choose to watch my channel. It's kind of a late brew day, brew night tonight. We're gonna make a guava mead. Now I've cut the guava up into eighths, froze it, thawed it, and usually that's enough to break up the cell walls so that you can get all of the total efficiency out of the fruit in your brew. But it just basically wasn't broke down enough. So I also brewed it in the Ninja blender. And we're going to go ahead and get all of our honey. That's not all of our honey. We're going to use this plus some leftover honey to get a good base mead going. And then we're going to pitch our guava slurry there and our yeast. It's going to work. Just you watch. Probably going to go with like 1 3/4 pounds of honey with maybe a gallon of water. You have to get old school with this. Turn down just a bit. How's everybody doing, by the way? Having a good week, hopefully. Let me know in the comments what you're brewing. Any kind of suggestions, ideas. I'm open to creative suggestions. I think that honey's give out. Let me get some more. Right, here's the remainder of the honey we're going to use. Take that honey's give out. Let me get some more. Right, here's the remainder of the honey we're going to use. Take that honey's give out. Let me get some more. Right, here's the remainder of the honey we're going to use. Take that honey's give out. Let me get some more. Right, here's the remainder of the honey we're going to use. Take that honey's give out. Let me get some more. Right, here's the remainder of the honey we're going to use. Take that honey's give out. Let me get some more. Right, here's the remainder of the honey we're going to use. Take that honey's give out. Let me get some more. Right, here's the remainder of the honey we're going to use. Take that honey's give out. Let me get some more. Right, here's the remainder of the honey we're going to use. Take that honey's give out. Let me get some more. Right, here's the remainder of the honey we're going to use. Take that honey's give out. Let me get some more. Right, here's the remainder of the honey we're going to use. Take that honey's give out. Let me get some Here's the remainder of the honey we're going to use. by the time we get done using water to get the rest of the honey out of the honey containers, we're going to be approximately at a gallon. Shake the crap out of this, get all the honey out of there, right? Am I right? I'm right. You know I'm right. Let's kind of call approximately again. We'll do it one more time for good measure. You can see in the brew cam there, that's a pretty high gravity brew. In this case, I'm not going to directly measure gravity. Most cases I don't. But it's looking pretty thick and juicy in there. So, I'm going to take our kind of guava slurry there. Before we pitch it, we are gonna kind of do a temperature check there. Ooh, yeah, that's way past temperature tolerance of yeast. So we're gonna take it off of heat. Turn the heat off, and incorporating this guava slurry is going to attenuate the heat somewhat, cool it down. And we're going to have to just cool it down in general quite a bit. So we'll put you back. We're going to put you little Makery Maniacs back in the phone holder where you belong. You were bad. You know what you did. You're not. Oh, look at that goodness. By the way, according to accredited references, the flavor profile of guava, good fresh guava, which I was able to obtain, is somewhere between a strawberry and a pear. Very interesting. If I do this any justice at all, it should be very refreshing. Cleaning utensils and letting that incorporate, I'm going to let you dwell on what you've done. already, it smells pretty dang good. Our only dilemma is how to decrease the temperature of the must to yeast pinching temperature without diluting the original gravity too much. And sometimes that involves just using time and patience. We're going to do the whole, his fingers are clean, not sanitized. I don't really do sanitized. Go by Phil. Yeah, that's still a little warm for yeast pitching. You know, you can already get like a really complex mix between the guava and the honey. I've not even added yeast yet, so I think it's going to be really cool. Finally found our yeast here. If you guys can see that, that's pretty thick and nasty must. I don't know that I really want to leave all that particulate matter for the brew to ferment on. There's pros and cons to both sides of the argument, but we'll have to see. Stand by. stir that a little bit more. Still a bit warm to be pitching these. I really want to do more exotic fruit meads or just brews in general in the future. If you guys give me any ideas, I'm open to it. Might try to add a little bit of cold water. It's like one 12-ounce cup is not going to dilute it too much, hopefully. This is probably going to be a relatively low gravity brew, like maybe 7 to 8% ABV. Compared to the typical brew I make, which is probably north of 13% ABV. Yeah, that's perfect. The water's perfect. Get in and swim. We're gonna try to proof this because I had this yeast in the refrigerator. I'm just the littlest bit concerned it's going to be like temperature abuse. It went from being 43 degrees to being 98 degrees. And yeast don't like big swings in temperature any more than you or I. So I'm going to try to proof this. See if these yeasties are going to withstand this. We're going to go probably 1 approximate tablespoon anyway. Yeah. I'm going to put a little bit more in there. I got to remember to get my yeast out of the refrigerator before I do all this. You know, I get so used to just doing it, not scripting and planning and videoing all this, that usually I'm pretty well on autopilot and don't plan very much ahead. I'm trying to be better. Hang in there with me. thinking pretty well I want to strain. I'll show you. I want to strain all the guava fruit pulp out of there. By the time I let the colony get good and established in there, it's going to have pretty well sapped all of the flavor profile and color profile from the guava that it's going to. And if I rack all of that pulp into primary, it's just going to complicate things, really. I mean, so that's most likely what we're going to do. Stand by for brew. Hey, our production values have gotten better. You gotta say that. They'll get better. Probably what I'm gonna do while I'm letting this yeast proof is I'm gonna try to get by spoon all of the guava pulp that I can out of this and just get rid of it. Be the best thing to do. Maybe a slotted spoon so we're not getting rid of a bunch of fluid. Or just some kind of strainer, you know? It's like baby food. Get all the seeds and everything else out of there. You know, you have to take the over-under on how much more benefit is it going to be between letting all this schmutz remain on the primary fermentation. What's the risk versus benefit of that? I happen to think there's more risk to it than benefit. For one thing, they're going to have to rack it off of there for the benefit of the brew at some point. Got the vast majority of it there. No, we try to not let anything go to waste here. This is gonna go to our small livestock, our rabbits and our chickens, for them to enjoy. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. I'm watching you. As you can see, we've gotten about 80% of the particulate matter out of there, but yet our yeast colonies are not really developing very much in there. It might be because I have not mixed it very well, but already I'm getting like a mix between the sheer sweetness of the honey and the acidic complexity of, I mean, that's a perfect, the internet's description of guava fruit is a mix between strawberry and pear is pretty well perfect. It's a mix between the sheer sweetness of the honey and the acidic complexity of a mix between strawberry and pear. So I think this is going to be good. You might try to go ahead and just pitch this in here and see what it does, which is always a gamble. Just going to pour that on in there. And get the rest of that yeast scooped out of there. And once we see that colonies are being established, which I'll show you a POV view of that, we're probably going to add a few more tablespoons of yeast. Now you can see you don't have the most, awesome, promising colony development that you've ever seen in your life here, but it's only been like 2 or 3 minutes. I forgot to get the yeast down to room temperature. So they're in somewhat of a compromised state. I think it's going to be okay. You guys can see here, you definitely got some flocculation development of some mini colonies. And once that gets started, it tends to steamroll. It goes from a few colonies rising to the surface to the whole surface of your brewing container is covered by what Brian and Danica from City Studying Brews like to call a foam dome, which means you're going to have a healthy fermentation. It's in the bag. But while we're waiting for that to develop, what are you guys brewing for other, brew tubers? What are you guys making? Are you making a mead or a wine or a cider or one of the many types of beers that are made? Please leave your comment in the comments section, because that might inspire me to do something stupid for which I don't really need much inspiration. I kind of come by that naturally. Please leave your comments. And I'm wanting to do more tropical fruit meads in the future that have not been really done a whole lot. I'm not going to mention them because then some other channels might do it. And not like my channel's really on the freaking radar. Nobody knows who I am. I'm a nobody. But why chance it? Or should I say nobody knows who we are? I apologize for that. I guess kind of started this channel. I shouldn't even really say that. But it's a family thing. So we're kind of nobodies. We're starting from the ground up, which is okay. We appreciate inspiration from others. If you look at this, we've definitely got progressive colony development here. Just got to give it some time. What do you guys think of a bochet? Like you cook the bejesus out of honey until it's boiling so horribly that it's gonna like explode and give you third-degree burns. Then you stop it, cool it down, and make it into a mead. What do you think of that? I've been thinking about the over-under of chancing that. Just for pure entertainment value. See, have I made a bochet lately? It's kind of labor intensive, don't you think? Bochet, I think that's French. Look, we're getting a little more development here. We may pitch another tablespoon and a half of yeast in there just to hedge our bets. Now that the temperature is a little more normalized. So altogether, that represents approximately the amount of yeast that we typically pitch, which is hold on, we'll do some calculations here. Well, maybe 2.5 tablespoons of yeast for anywhere from a gallon to a gallon and a half. And that may seem like overkill, but we just want to, it's like insurance, you know? I don't think we have any doubts at this point. We got a pretty good foam dome forming there. We're gonna let it continue to develop. And when you're talking about this pivotal stage from going to your brewing container to your primary fermenter, you kind of want to treat, I always compare it to treating the yeast like you would treat koi fish. You can't roughhouse them. You can't be insensitive with them. You got to be very delicate with them, because while they're very resilient organisms, that, you know, it's kind of like a juxtaposition. They can also be very delicate organisms. They're more temperature delicate than humans. So just be conscious of that. Incorporate a little bit. Oh, that's gonna be good. The approximate gravity from the fruit I've used and the amount of honey I've used is going to be like 0.0567 or something like that, which is going to give you anywhere from like 4 to 5% ABV, which is okay. I think I'm going for more for a flavor profile than for a high ABV percentage. And we're going to be ready to put that into primary here soon. fermented goodness. We're going to give it a few more minutes and then get it put into primary. Alright, if you look here now, you've got a pretty well established colony. I don't think there's any worries there. We're going to get it racked into primary here. And I'm much less fussy than my peers are. Basically, we're going to pour it through a funnel into this makeshift carboy and leave it at that. I'm kind of a no muss, no fuss guy. But from prior experience, I think we're probably going to do this in the sink. But you cannot lose too much of it. I think that's going to be really interesting and complex. I don't want too much headspace in either carboy, because that can result in an increased risk of it turning into vinegar, basically, by a microorganism called the acetobacter, which is omnipresent. It's always there, but what you have to have is the right circumstances, the right environment for it. So all you have to do is eliminate that. Try not to have any more headroom than possible. Try not to have it cooler than room temperature, and try not to have allow oxygen after fermentation has begun, whatever. I'm not an English teacher. So we're going to kind of divide these evenly between the carboys, get them evened up. Thinking we look pretty even there. Throw that over there. What's the point that comes next for you beginning brewers? what do we always do at this point during the video? We aerate. You do want oxygen in order to develop healthy colonies before fermentation is hardcore begun. You don't want it afterwards. You don't aerate afterwards. So we're going to shake this up a whole lot. We're going to put that lid on there very loosely as to release CO2 gas but not let any kind of contaminants in. Get this other one going. We're going to put these guys to rest in our fermentation area. And like I said, if you guys enjoy any of this content, please hit like. Please subscribe and leave comments. I mean, we're not open to trolls, but we're open to constructive criticism. We've got an open air. Thank you again for joining Makery by Mooney, and have a good night.